What's up, Change the Channel podcast listeners? My name is Megan Grace, and I am your host of Change the Channel podcast. Welcome back to Change the Channel. This is the podcast where I get to the privilege of sharing stories of beautiful moments of connection and channeled messages, or basically, I'm the hype girl in your pocket. I'm here to bring you the positive news, the what's what, and the cool things that I'm noticing around in the world. So today, I am so lit up to tell you this story. So get cozy and listen in. This story feels a little bit like magic and a little bit like my guides showing up for me, telling me, that what I'm doing matters, which if you're in any kind of creative field, every once in a while, you need just those little light posts that say, you're going the right way. So on this episode of this story, I'm going to set the scene for you. And I was again at work. I was over near the apartment building, and usually my routine is to come in, get stuff set up. I'm usually trying to talk myself out of the fact that I need coffee. But friends, let's be honest, a life without caffeine is just not a life that works well for me. And so it was actually kind of an odd time. Usually the caffeine nudge, if you will, hits me a little bit earlier. But on this day, I ended up walking down to Happy Cup. Shout out to them. And I was like, okay, I'm going to go in, get something to eat, get some coffee, take a breath, come back, start my day. And sometimes even the practice of leaving where I am and going to someplace else and then coming back can kind of reset. So I was in mode of, I'm not going to have a tired day. I'm going to have an empowered day. And starting with that with a cup of coffee. So I walk down and I walk in, I open the door. I swear to you, I've been to this coffee shop, embarrassingly, almost daily because, again, caffeine is a must for me. So I look in and there is this person that's sitting right as you come in the doorway. And they are one of my favorite podcasters. They are also from Portland, and the podcast is They Talk Sex. And I was looking and go, oh my gosh, there is no way that as I'm talking about starting a podcast, one of my favorite podcasters is at this coffee shop and randomly just plopped right in the doorway for an easy moment of connection. And so, like the fangirl that I am, kind of walked up a little bit and got a big smile on my face and just said, hey, do you happen to have a podcast? All shy. And they looked up at me and said, yeah, I do. And I said, man, this podcast, your perspective, the way that you talk about human connection and intimacy and pleasure and passion, and they talk about sex workers and the sex industry, all these things, but their perspective is really powerful. And I was just so grateful to be in their presence. When I told them this, they looked at me and said, I have been really needing to hear that, because sometimes just talking through the microphone, you're not really sure if anybody's hearing this. I'm over here, eyeball deep in editing, but this connection is meaning the world to me. And so they stood up and we gave each other this beautiful hug. Oh my gosh, hugs are magic. Also, sidebar, if you're giving someone a hug, do your best to give them at least a 5 to 10 second hug, because then they end up getting some of the happy endorphin release, and we all need a little bit more of that. So they leaned in, gave me that beautiful style hug, heart-to-heart connection, and we just continued to talk about what it's like to have a podcast, the fact that literally they never come to this particular coffee shop. This was very out of their normal routine, and that they were just kind of having a little bit of an off day. But something about them moving and continuing in the world, even when there was challenges, and just happening to be in my field of view, made it so we could have this beautiful connection. And I was able to tell them that I was starting a podcast, and something felt different about sharing that this was a project that I was getting ready to work on. It made it real. It put skin on it, and they had the most beautiful reaction to it. Like, tell me more about what it's going to be, and let me know when it drops. And I go, just so you know, this interaction is definitely going to be for my community, because what are the odds and what is the magic in this? And magic that is this good should not be kept to yourself. And so, yeah, it was just this beautiful moment. And if I would have just been on mission, like, I'm tired, I need to come in and get coffee, I don't want to bother them, they're probably in the middle of something, blah, blah, blah. All the different messages that go on in our heads of reasons why oftentimes as humans we don't reach out to the other people that are around us. I'm so grateful that I decided in that moment and made a choice to choose connection over busyness, isolation, or the channel that may have been running in my head that today was a slow morning, and instead leaned into the beauty of connection. And now we took a selfie together, and I'm really excited to just continue to share about what they're doing out in the world as well. I'll go ahead and put a link to or more information about their podcast as well in the show notes. So you can go over, like, follow, listen, be inspired and educated by the work that they do and the awareness that they bring to this very important industry. And also just a reminder to you that even a quick errand like grabbing coffee could be like a game changer for your day. If you're going about your day looking for each human interaction as the opportunity for some magic to show up, you might just surprise yourself. And these are the kind of surprises that we need more of in this world. So cheers to them. Cheers to the work that they're doing. And this is another episode of Change the Channel podcast. Have a great day.